Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. In today's video, we're going to be discussing what Tyler Robinson was doing prior to his final approach into the campus to shoot Charlie Kir. I think he did a dry run on that very same day. Now, if we remember this image or the video put out by TMZ, you see his vehicle driving on the right part of the window, right there, the screen. That is Tyler Robinson's vehicle driving by. Now, it's interesting because that location is right here. The camera is on the house pointing out to the street just like that. And that's at 8:23, and he's going in this direction. Now, I think that Tyler Robinson parked his vehicle somewhere inside of this square here before committing the murder. Now, did he actually go there first in the morning at 8:23 and scout out his spot? But apparently at 8:30, his vehicle is spotted on campus, and then Tyler Robinson gets out of his vehicle and walks around. We don't have any description of what he was doing, etc. However, later we have video of Tyler Robinson walking this direction, down this street, and let's take a look at that right here. That's coming up next. And that was 8:23 right there. And then right after this, we see Tyler Robinson walking with a maroon shirt, sort of olive green shorts, a blue backpack or a dark backpack. And then we see this is at 9:57 and 55 seconds. And then if you watch my shadow analysis video, you'll realize this is actually at 10:08. So based on that, we can infer that his path to there was walking down this street just behind the wooded area where he put the rifle and, wrapped in a black towel later. But you can infer that he walked around like this and came down this street, which is exactly the same spot that he walked by just prior to going in to shoot Charlie Kir, and we'll show that in a minute. So he walks down like this, turns left onto 800 West, and then walks this direction. And you can see right at the tailing end, he starts veering off, and I think he goes down across that bridge and does the full walk through. So I would imagine law enforcement probably has a video of him earlier in the day walking through this tunnel. All right, so let's go back to the video. So here he is walking by early. Now watch how he's sort of about 2 feet out, and look how he gets closer to the grass right at the end, right there. See that? He's just about to cut across. He just does it a little bit later than he does in the final video. So let's take a look at the Chuck Keeler video right after this. So after this, we see him walking down the street, and this is the one where a vehicle drives by, at the intersection. It looks like, I thought originally it was a little bit suspicious, but it turns out there's red paint on the sidewalk, and that vehicle likely was going to try to park and then realize, oh, I can't park here, and then pulled away. All right, but here he comes, walking this direction, and this is apparently at around 11:44. Let's see, right there, we can make it out. 11:45. So it's 11:45 walking by, and he walks this direction. And on the map, that is exactly in this position. And it makes sense because he'd be walking around and going this direction. So did he go by the same way later in the evening? So did he walk up here just prior to killing Charlie Kir as well and make his way down like this? Or did he park over here somewhere, and that's what led him to walk this direction and then turn like this? And then maybe later he parked in here and he just walked down this way. It seems like you wouldn't want to walk a long way with a rifle barrel in your pants and the butt somewhere else, I think in his pants too, maybe on the other side. We don't know exactly where that is, but he obviously has a rifle in his pants. I just think he parked inside of this square right here. And it makes sense. The car was driving in that direction. He came from that direction, walking around like this, and that's at 9:57. So I think That is a dry run, and I think he's already parked where he's going to park later. It's also, you know, again, everything is possible that once he did his dry run, he moved his car so it didn't appear to be in the same spot, maybe some more counter surveillance stuff, and he moved his car, but I think eventually it's in this square right here. All right, so back to the surveillance. So there he is walking over there. I'm just going to move it forward really fast. He walks down the street, and on the map, he goes down like this, turns left on 800 West and heads in. And this is later when he's making his final approach to kill Charlie Kir. All right, now you see he's walking differently. You know, he can bend his knee, but he just can't bend his leg very far or swing it very far. So it appears he can't bend the knee as much, but I think he can bend it pretty well. It's just kind of tight in the pants now. All right, this is the time where he sort of pauses, waits, and then he walks across the grass. Now, I think he chose to go down that direction because there's no steps that you have to negotiate. And if you notice, there is a set of stairs that go down right here, but I think it's a lot more difficult to negotiate going downstairs. So he chose to do this path where you go over this bridge, and there's really nothing, one little step down maybe over here to get into the parking lot. But right here, he went over this bridge here, and then through the parking lot, and then through the tunnel. And I think this is exactly what he was doing at like 10:06 in the morning when he was wearing his shorts and the maroon shirt. Now, the reason he was wearing the backpack was to appear to be like a student. And here's an example of what I try to explain often here. Look at this. See this guy right here? If he was sitting on a park bench, doesn't he look suspicious? I mean, even if he wasn't making that crazy face that he's making right there, wouldn't he look incredibly suspicious just sitting on a park bench without doing anything else? He would look out of place. What is he looking for? However, if you see the same guy, he's sitting there reading a book, you know, smoking a cig or vape, whatever the hell that is. You know, he looks like a normal person reading a book, enjoying an afternoon. And I think the backpack is similar in disguise. I mean, the second image there, he could have been a bad person, but he was trying to look like he was naturally there. I think that Tyler Robinson was wearing the backpack to make him look like a student while he's walking around and nobody would pay attention to him. Now, if he didn't have the backpack on and he was just walking around campus, he might look suspicious to people or stand out. I'm sure some people didn't have backpacks, but you know, he knows what he's going to be doing later, so it may have made him think of wearing the backpack. He also has a cell phone, so you could be on your cell phone, but I just think the backpack added a layer of disguise for him to make him appear to be a regular student, even on his final pass. Okay, so I think that he did a dry run from right here. He walked down, and wherever he started from, I think it might be over in this area, he walked this direction, down, and then over here. And I think he's just trying to confuse surveillance cameras, not walking in straight lines, doing some odd things. Comes down like this, turns, and he goes through the tunnel, and I imagine he did the whole thing. I bet he went up the stairs. I bet that he walked down this direction, went up some, I think it's right over in this area, some stairs here. And there's not very many. If you take this particular path right there aren't very many steps that go up, and then he goes inside. He may have even went up to the roof. He may have taken the stairs and gone up there, and he's wearing completely different clothing. I'll put the terrain back on in 3D building. So there you go. I think that's what he did he did a dry run earlier, walked through the whole thing, and then that probably ended at around 10:45, 10:50. He goes back to the vehicle, wherever it was parked, but I think it was in that square zone right here. And in that area, he changed his clothes, but he would have to do it outside of his vehicle. So we have to find a place, because I think it would be almost impossible to stuff a rifle barrel down your pant leg while sitting. So I don't even think he was driving that way. I think he needed a place where he could, you know, access his vehicle standing up, put the barrel down his pants, and then walk to the campus. And he executed his plan, and he killed Charlie Kir. So after, you know, taking the gun out of his pants and putting it together in that low area that I've described in many other videos, he comes up these stairs right here at 12:15, jumps over this wall right there at 12:17, and then for 5 minutes he is crouched down, and then he gets up and his noticeable limp is gone because he's constructed the gun that was in his pants. And then from this position right here, he fires at Charlie Kir right over there, and then he exits and runs off the roof, and he's not limping at all. And that's because now he's carrying the rifle and he has it wrapped in a black towel and he's kind of holding it next to him. And it's not really a well planned out escape, but it worked. I mean, other than the fact that he left the rifle and the black towel in the woods there, they still would have had video of him, but I'm not sure they would have been able to track him down. And then he just got the hell out of there. So let me know in the comments what you think. If you think that was a dry run, I absolutely do. I think he was there earlier, scouting out, you know, 8:30-ish, walking around, seeing if everything is set up. I think he likely had already been there at some other point. I wonder if they have surveillance of him visiting the campus within that last week or two. But I think that was a dry run because he's walking on the same path. So I think, and he started veering off over here. So I think he does go through the tunnel there. And I think law enforcement is going to have video of him wearing the maroon shirt, the shorts, and he's going to be walking through that tunnel. And that will come out at trial, etc. And there's a lot of people out there that are like, how come we don't get to see the surveillance of him running on the roof? Tyler Robinson is alive. He has been charged with murder. He is going to have a trial, and these are things that aren't released to the public in cases like that. Now, we got to see more of this in the Thomas Crooks shooting of Trump because he was taken out by law enforcement at the scene, and they just wanted to put together the information for us to look at. They released the body camera footage. They released all kinds of different images and videos out there, and it really told the story. This one, I think they gave out quite a bit considering the situation. They have video of Tyler Robinson reaching the roof, walking to the corner. Now, can you see his face? No, you can't. But they have him on surveillance camera leading all the way up to the roof inside buildings. And then he goes up the stairs onto the roof, and then he goes over and shoots Charlie Kir. All right, and then the video also shows him, we saw the second half of it where he's already in mid-run from the position that he was shooting, and then he climbs down the roof and runs towards the woods. And in those woods, they found the rifle wrapped in a black towel, as I described earlier, and his DNA was on the trigger of the gun, etc. I'm just trying to put together the full pieces of the story, and I think, as I just laid out, that the 10:08 time where he's walking by the surveillance camera, something around there, like 10:08, that's a dry run. That ends probably at 10:45, 10:50, likely caught on one of these cameras again going the other direction. We don't know. He may have even done a dry run where he goes into the wooded area here and makes his way out, and then he comes over here, right? So when he was leaving, he ran this direction, right through here, down here, and he likely went east right here. So after running by right here, he would go east because that's the direction he was coming when he was walking. He was walking down in this direction. All right, so that means his car is up here somewhere, and I think it's likely right over here. It could easily be somewhere just right in this section here. I doubt it's on this cul-de-sac, but that's a possibility. We see him walking here. Did he go back that same way, or is the vehicle more over here to keep as far away from the wooded area as possible? Don't know, but let me know in the comments if you think that that was a dry run or not. I think it's very likely that's exactly what it was. Let me know if you think that surveillance footage will show him entering the buildings earlier in the day. I absolutely think that. But leave a comment and hit that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. So everybody, thank you for watching. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.